Hold on. Let's see. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
That's my fault. I have my mic muted.
Like,
It's not. I had I was messing around over here trying to stay focused here. Ahmed will be on in about a minute. He said he was running late. Yeah,
Okay,
so
cool.
peace.
It's all good.
I guess the topic of this show is what's important to us as men. What's the priorities that we have or importance that we play on different things when it comes to relationship, business, friendships.
Mm.
I don't think we have enough of these discussions, men like ourselves, where people really want to hear what's important to us.
Indeed.
You know, little later on when Ahmed gets on, I'm gonna play a clip from a video I was watching. And this woman was it's a woman speaking, and she was expressing how we are viewed in our relationships by some women. Their viewpoint. She's speaking from a woman's viewpoint, how she was raised, and how some women view us as men. This Ahmed's in here. He's in the building. Peace. What's up?
Peace. How you doing?
Hey, peace, bro. Doing well.
All
right. So what we was talking about, we just started really. What's important to us as men, especially men of color, because I think every man on this, in this country, this is the only place I've lived, is we hear what's important to other men, but in our group, we don't hear, no one really asks us what's important to us when it comes to relationship, business, friendships, just in general. I'm never asked that question. What's important to me? I've never had that question before, but I know we've always addressed what's important to our women, even in our conversations, their feelings and being a little more understanding and things like that. But now I'm just reversing it and saying, okay, what's important to us? What drives us? And I was talking to Mari before you came in. I was watching a woman. I'm gonna play a clip of the video, and she's talking about some women, how they look at us in their relationships and why we're treated a certain way. Without giving it way too much, I'll get into that. But let's just go around the room here. What's important? Let's start with you, Madi.
Oh man, I would say probably the most important thing to me that drives me, and it was very interesting. It was a woman who pointed it out to me. Is actually power, and what I mean by power is literally having the power over my life and the freedom over my life, and me making choices because I'm making choices, I'm making decisions. It's not influenced by anyone outside of me. And so that's something that really drives me. And I've kind of seen over the course of my life, without really even paying attention to it, that I always noticed when someone would tell me something to do, I would be more prone and more apt to do the opposite.
Right.
It was like you're not going to dictate to me. Right. Yeah. And obviously I gave my parents a lot of grief growing up, because of that, especially my father being a military man and him used to barking orders at soldiers and them following them, and then his own son completely rebelling against everything he's saying. But it was like a innate thing within me that it was important that my life and the terms of my life were based on the decisions I was making for myself, by myself, and having that freedom. And so that's that power for me. And that's what kind of drives me.
Right. Anything else? That's it, basically. Just power.
Well, that's it's power, but power for the end result of freedom.
Okay.
And so, I would say, I create power in my life. So I have, like, for example, even how reason why I'm in business for myself, so that no one is able to dictate to me, and I have the freedom to do what I want to do.
Okay.
And so for me, the more power I possess, the more freedom I can attain. And so the ultimate thing I would say is that if we were to really get to the core, it would be freedom.
Freedom.
And I think it's very interesting, especially to now, what we're dealing with in today, what's going on.
A lot of people are bucking because they're being forced to do something.
Yeah, they're being forced to do something,
and giving and no one likes.
Yeah, exactly, and it truly infringes, I feel, on our inalienable birthright,
right,
to be who we are as we are in this world and express ourselves without comparison, judgment, condemnation, guilt, or shame. Just show up as the authentic expression that we are, and be completely free in that. And when you have someone or entity or what have you trying to impede upon that and impose its will or their will, I think you should, set the boundary right there and stand firm on your ground. So for me, I think really having that freedom to really live the life on my terms is like the ultimate thing that drives me. And it drives me in my relationships, like relationships I've all had. If I felt that this person wasn't open enough and had the capacity to grow and expand spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, and who she is, and that's going to impede upon my ability to do those things and my freedom to do that, that person would not be around long.
Right. All right. Ahmed, it's up to you.
Well, it's crazy because he said pretty much exactly how I am.
I was thinking the same thing. You said I'm thinking.
100%. I mean, like 100%. I mean, I have to have I have to have my freedom. Period. Right. I mean, I had my first business at 18. I said, "The hell with college. I want my own business."
Right.
I mean, I've had jobs and worked for people. Like one of the best jobs I could have. I worked for a Greek guy. He's passed on now, but really, 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 really good dude. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when I say good dude, we had some real street conversations, and did some things. But I always told him, I don't like working for you because I don't like nobody to tell me what the hell to do. I like to do what I want to do, when I want to do, and how I want to do it. And I'll take the consequences and rewards for that. And that's what my father told me. He said, a long time. He said, listen, man, go enjoy life when you're young, because when you get older, you might make some decision that's going to have some consequences and rewards. But be prepared for whatever decision you make in life for the consequences and rewards. The beauty in that is it's my choice to do it. Yes. So even when I tell my children, nephews, or whoever, if you're going to make a choice to do something, understand the consequences and the rewards of it. But do it because that's what you choose to do. Well, we lost our king?
I think so, yeah.
He broke out. It's his thing. He breaks out on us, what type of thing?
Yeah. But just keep flowing, brother. You're on it right now.
You know what I'm saying? You have to do it based on how you want to do it, good, bad, or indifferent. So even in a relationship as well, I have to know that I have the freedom to be who I am. I have the freedom to be who I am and what I am. What happened? Can you need that?
They bumped me off the computer. Like my whole screen went blank. But I always have backup. So I'm on my actual laptop until this.
Oh, okay, cool. Always got to have that plan B, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm like, yo, I didn't know that's never happened. Ever happened. Like,
well, I guess you always say when we're talking about something real, things happen because
I see that. I see that. I was supposed to do a ritual over this show before I did it.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
even when I was in junior high school, like they told us when we cross the stage, don't throw your hat, don't do it. I threw my hat and did whatever I wanted to do. And the principal said, "You always got to do what you want to do." Right? I said, "Yeah, I got to do it my way." And that's the way I know how to do it. I'm not open to hearing suggestions, but understand it's a suggestion. You know what I'm saying? I have to have that freedom to implement what I need to implement, good, bad, or indifferent. Exactly. So when Malik said about having power, I knew what he meant by that, because that freedom gives you power. And the fact that I'm seeing so many powerless people in what's going on now, it's, I don't know, man. It's even affecting my home, to be honest, So I had to take myself and put myself in a different space, because it was putting me in a bad place. Because the one thing that I cannot take is for someone else, some entity, some man, some woman, some whoever, to have any influence in my home, to have anything to say of an outcome that happens in my home. I am the Jesus in my home. And I tell my daughters that I am the Jesus. I am the Moses. I am the God. Period. You understand what I'm saying? The buck stops with me, because when you walk down the street with your children's acting up, even if you're with their mother, they don't look at her, they look at you. And that's what us men is not realizing. We are the ones that set the example of how things are looked at, how things are dealt with, how things are completed, whether they like it or not. You can get these women that hit me raw. Yeah, that's all fine and dandy. But at the end of the day, when that roar becomes to a cry, who they come to? You know what I'm saying? When they realize that we ain't their enemy, we their friend, you know what I'm saying? We ain't their foe, we can go places. So I need to have that power. No, let me rephrase that. I will have that power.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? To input what I need to input, to induce what I need to induce, and to set the example that I need to set, period.
Absolutely. So Akeem, what about you, brother? You still there?
I see his
hang on.
I see his avatar there, but I'm
trying to get it right. Y'all continue the conversation.
Yeah, man. What you were just talking about, man, especially you said how when we're out and about and our children are misbehaving, they're going to look to us. Akeem and I were having a conversation earlier this past week just about what we're seeing now with a lot of young people, like from children up to even folks in their early 20s, and how folks are just showing out and wilding out. And how that, at many times is a direct reflection of the father not being in the home, not setting, as you so eloquently put, that standard of God
Mm-hmm.
in the household. These are the rules. These are the laws of this domain, and you're going to be governed by them.
Right.
And when a child doesn't have that, and like even for example, even with my rebelliousness and not wanting to listen, my father being that force in the household. Like he was in the military, so a lot of times he was gone. They had him on remote tours and stuff. But when he was there, he had that masculine energy, that energy of dominance, of power, of control, being in the house was a tempering measure for me.
Right.
And in that energy being there, it allowed me to understand what it means to be a man, to provide, to protect, to provide, to procure the necessary assets for the household, and to ensure that there's stability and there's safety there. And one of the things that I've just seen, I've taken note of, is that you got a lot of these young folks coming up now, especially with these kids, just like out here wilding out and doing all kinds of things. And Akeem and I were just saying that I really feel that a lot of it is due to the fact that in most of these children and these young adults, their homes, the father wasn't there.
There's two things that a young boy must have in order to be a man. And I don't care what, if you don't have these two things, you will not have a man in your home. You have to have consistency and discipline.
Yep.
Period. A young boy must have consistency and he must have discipline. If you don't have those two things, you're gonna have you're not gonna have the quality of a man that you're supposed to have, because if he doesn't have it, he doesn't know how to give it. And if he doesn't know how to give it, he doesn't know how to present it. So we must have that, and that must be understood. We can't be coddled. I be in the parks now and I see little boys fall down the slide and they run, oh my God, I gotta pick them up. And my daughter go run down the slide and fall, and I tell her, don't touch her. She gotta get up on her own. And that's what she do. She'd come, wipe her hands on my pants, dust it off, and go about her business. But I see these young boys still with pacifiers in their mouths, still with Pampers on, still being held hand to go up a slide and do. What are we doing here? Yeah. If you fall, guess what? You don't want to fall again. So you make it your business to do it right.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's like there's no consequences for what you do, because there's also have to be a reward, and that reward is that the next time I don't fall and I get to do what I want to do and I did it right this time. That's the reward. And they need to see the difference and compare the two. They have nothing to compare it to. Then what did they gain? They don't know what they gain, even if they gain something. No. It's crazy to me the way things are doing.
All right, I'm ready.
Go ahead, bro.
I've never seen that before, ever. But anyway, yeah, like rewinding it back, I agree with both of you. It's power, but not power in a control way. Like you want to control people and be a dictator. It's power that when you say something, you're respected. That's the power. That what you say is valuable to the people you're around, your family. And what happens, and what I just my experience, you guys can, see if y'all agree, is I have to go above and beyond when I say something to get people to believe me or to agree with me, just in simple matters, you have to say something and everybody wants to vet everything you say before they move forward. You know what I'm saying? Whereas you watch these same people listen and jump to it. Yeah, they go to work and someone says, okay, this, and they do it. They go in other situations. But in our community, I see we have to work harder to get our, point across. Like if we have a mission that we're on, say you want to start a business and everybody's pulling against you. Whereas you go into other communities, they start a business, everybody's okay, well, how can I help you? That's the power I'm talking about. Whereas when I say, hey, this is the mission, this is the plan, long as it's a well thought out plan, we need to be respected to the point of, okay, I don't know where this is going, but I trust this man, because he's got a good track record. You know what I'm saying? And the other power is having to say something without having to go back to reset. What I mean by that is, okay, I've already proved myself. Look, I'm taking care of business, bills are paid, everybody's eating. We're not going on the street. We overflowing the bank account, but when I come up with something else, I got to go through a reset, like as if I haven't accomplished anything. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the things I'm talking about. What do y'all think about that?
You can go ahead first, Amaya.
No, that's spot on. That's spot on. And I'm glad you cleared up the power thing, because it can be misconstrued
Right.
that it's about being controlled. But let's not get it twisted either. There is some things I am going to control.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, that's
So let's not make it too loose, and let's not make it too tight. There is a common ground here, but there is some things I am going to control. But going back to what you said, I totally agree, and I've experienced that as well. But you know what? I find that to be a universal thing. No matter who I speak to, that they have a problem when something is said in their home, that they have a problem. Whoever it is have a problem with that. But when they hear it outside their home, they want to move on that.
Right.
And what makes it worse is that they don't see the problem in that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because now, let's say you make the move and things go wrong. Who are you coming back to fix it or to help you fix it? You know what I'm saying? So, in the same token, if we make it a move and the move don't work out or whatever the case may be, you still got to trust in it. But as a man, you can still fall back and say, you know what, that didn't work. I can fall back and listen to and make a move with you, because you still have something going on while I was doing what I was doing. Your thing is moving, so I may have to take a step back. A real man can do that. But see, what needs to happen is that other half cannot emasculate you in that.
Right.
Still have to allow you to be in the space that you was already in, so that you can get back to where you need to be. So I definitely agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Me as well. I would say, with the distinction that where I found it most is, like Ahmed said, in the home, dealing with family, close relations. Outside of that, even within the community, our communities, and even outside of our communities, with other communities that I've been engaged with, I haven't seen it as much, but it's been more so in the close relations that I've had, where you get that pushback, that questioning, that vetting, taking you through the ringer to try to make sure are you sure about this, and what about the plan, what about this over here, and this kind of stuff, instead of just taking you for your word and trusting in what you're going to do, that you say you're going to do. Like we've always heard, no prophet is accepted in his own hometown.
Right.
So I think, like Ahmed was saying, it is universal, I think, across the board, regardless of even cultures. At times you can find just, when I think about, even when I was in medical school, like a lot of my classmates, regardless of where they're from, whatever culture they're from, the biggest one of the chief complaints that they would have is that the stuff we were learning that we knew that was life-saving, our own family be like, nah, I'm gonna go over here to what I know, what the doctor said I need to take this and this and this. And then afterwards, after they go down that path and they get in all kind of trouble,
right?
And then you're like, oh, well, hey, what can you do? Well, how can you help me? And so that's where I've seen the most resistance for that.
And then when you can't help them, they're like, well, you see, your stuff don't work.
Exactly.
You see, your stuff don't work. They always talk about the end. That's another thing they always bring up. It's always the thing about the end, but you can't have an end without a beginning.
Right.
So let's talk about the beginning, because that's going to tell us how we got to this end. But we always want to skip past that. But that's the most important thing, where you started. Because where you started, now everything in between is what built up to that end. That's how you're going to fix it, or give an overstanding of it, or whatever, if when you go to that beginning. And that's like the hardest thing. But I tell you, that my thing is, even listen, I tell people in the families, I don't know everything. No, let me rephrase that. When somebody say I don't know everything, I said that ain't true. I do know everything, because everything I know, I know. What I don't know, if you tell me, I just found out. So now I know. So I know everything. So I always know everything. So my thing is, just give yourself options with things, if that's the case. I'm not saying you have to just take my word. My thing is, why not vet that? It's crazy how they don't want to vet that, but they want to vet other things that's right in front of them and see that's clear as day, but they don't want to vet that. So vet that and let's put it on the table and let's look at the research, because if you could show me something that makes more sense, it makes more sense. The answer is always the answer. I don't care how you feel, what you think, how it's said. The answer is always the answer. A fact
Truth
is
is
going to
truth.
be a fact.
Yeah, I would say the truth is always the truth. It never changes.
yeah.
It doesn't have
Yeah,
come in different
exactly.
shapes
Exactly.
and sizes. It's one way, and that's it.
Yep.
And yeah, so I think what we're saying is just simple respect. That's it. Just some respect.
You ain't gotta love me, but respect me.
Right. So that's important. I think that's important to all men. I don't care what group of people we're talking about. But I think with us, we got so many other things that pull us in a negative way, that not only we're not getting respect, we also getting stepped on at the same time. You know, so other groups might not be getting the respect in some areas, but when we walk into a room with another counterpart, like I was just in Chipotle. I stopped off to get something to eat. So it was a white male in front of me, and I'm behind him. So the young lady speaks to him, "Hey, sir, what do you want?" Right? Then when she gets to me, "Hey, what do you want?" She says, "Hey, sir." She spoke to him in a more respectful tone, but to me, she spoke to me as if, we knew each other for years. In a kind of, unprofessional tone for a place of service. So we look at each other. People of our own ethnic background look at us in a. I don't want to use the word negative. I want to use, it's not so important to greet him with professionalism as I do these people, because I have a different level of respect for them than this man here.
Yeah.
That's
I
how
think a lot of that.
That's
Yeah,
how
I think a
culture is.
lot
The
of
right
that.
to say, "Yo, what up, dog?" That's
Yeah.
how culture.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of that, what you said on that, is deal with the conditioning of the culture. And I think, because of the conditioning, the brand of our people, the brand, when I'm speaking about, like, from a commercial standpoint of brands, the branding for us as a people has been so skewed. We've allowed others to brand and tell the story, to dictate the narrative, and even get our investment and involvement in continuing to propagate the narrative and the brand that's been put out there. And because I've had the privilege and pleasure of living abroad and traveling around the world and interacting with different cultures, it's quite interesting, the engagement that I will encounter outside the United States versus inside the United States when we're dealing with other folk who don't look like us or from a different culture. There's been more, I would say, openness in what I've encountered outside the United States than what I've encountered inside the United States at time, by encountering different cultures and how they perceive us as a people in the States. And so, when you kind of go back to what you were talking about before, with the whole respect thing, Akeem, I've witnessed and experienced more respect outside.
I would have to agree with that 100%.
Yep.
Because when we was in London, me and Mahdi, the level of service that people, when they spoke to us, I didn't feel any different than any other man, and it was multicultures there in this place that we were. But when we encountered different people in the restaurants, I didn't feel that feeling of being different or being treated different. You see what I'm saying? So I didn't feel like somebody's got an echo there. Somebody got the speakers on.
On the side.
Yeah, I was on my side.
Oh, okay. So I agree that it's in this country, in this culture, that we got a certain branding or way they treat us that we have become accustomed to, even with between ourselves and other people. Now, when I was doing cable and satellite and going into different homes and people newly moved into the country and I walked into their homes, I was almost treated like a king. Hey, sit down. You know, especially like the Somalians. Remember, the Somalis was migrating here or immigrating here. A lot of them, and I went into their homes. And at a certain time in the evening, they all would sit around on the floor. They have a carpet, and they have food laid out. And you know, because I worked for the cable, I wasn't allowed to sit down and eat. You know, it was just for libel. They didn't want me to do any of that. But they would always say, "Hey, take your shoes off. You know, come sit down." And I was there to put cable in, but they wanted me to sit down and eat with them. People I don't know, and the women had the food, bringing the food to me. You know, and they would just say, you know, give him that and serve that, and they would just sit there and they just having regular conversation. A couple of times I indulged and just sat down and just because I wanted to know the culture. And I'm not just talking about Somalians. I went into people from the Middle East home, where
absolutely.
the women with the things on their face, and you just see the eyes. And just a side note on that, that's a whole misconception that the women are oppressed and all of this stuff because the woman was the one making a deal with me for the cable. She was talking to me, and he was off in the background, yay or nay, whatever she was, you know, whatever I said, and I thought one time that the guy didn't understand English and she just was speaking, you know, but he did understand English because he said something in English to me when I was leaving, but he didn't speak a full sentence the whole time. She ran the whole thing and didn't look back at him, just, you know, to see if he had approval or what he agreed to, but she was the negotiator. And but when I came in, especially when I say my name, Akeem, it's like, oh, Akeem. It's like this certain enlightenment opens up, and then hey, you know, you know what that means, and you know, it just opens up a new conversation, and in that moment, I'm in a different world. Then when I leave that door, it goes back to what the treatment that I'm getting, you know, that I was used to. So it's like, wow, these people really have a different perception of us than that they paint on the news. You know, they have a really big respect for us. Was it you that was telling me the story, Marty, about when you were out and someone was calling you a Moor? You know, who's that? It was an Indian. Was that you that told that story to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and at the time you didn't realize what he was saying or something like that. Something to that. I can't remember the exact story, but if you want to share that.
Yeah, it was, you know, that was quite some time ago. And I was actually in LA at the time. And it was actually it was a Persian family. Yeah. And this is like when I first, this is like back in 2002, 2003, and I first moved from South Carolina to LA to go study Chinese medicine at the time. And I encountered, you know, this. I think they were Persian. I think they're from Iran, if I'm not mistaken. Could have been Lebanon though, but anyways, and he just, you know, called me. He said, the young Moor over there. And I was like, excuse me? He said, yeah, you, the Moor. And obviously at that time, completely naive and ignorant to what he was referencing. But it was said with a heightened level of respect.
Right.
And at that time I didn't understand, because, you know, what I had known concerning the Moors were, from what I was taught in school, is that there's the group of Africans, folks who came from Africa when they took over Spain and took over Europe for a while, about 800 years, and then you know, they ransacked and they were doing all this stuff there. You know, at that time, you know, just naive and ignorant to what he was referring to. But like you were saying, man, with the families of people who are not natives to the United States. When I was after medical school, I moved back to Los Angeles, where myself and another doctor, we created a holistic nutrition school and program that we were running. And I wanted to live in Beverly Hills. And so I was looking around and I was trying to find something that was in my budget. And I ended up finding this actual Persian family that were from Iran. They're Muslim, Persian Muslims. And literally our agreement for the apartment, for the apartment that they had, was a handshake agreement.
Mhm.
And
That's
like
another thing, yeah.
and like you, they would always bring me food.
Mm-hmm.
The wife did all the negotiations for the handshake contract agreement.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just this beautiful exchange. And two, with my name, Mahdi or Mehdi, as they pronounced it, it was just this openness and just this camaraderie and this connection. And I was like, wow, just this genuine treatment.
Right. Like it's hard to describe. Like,
Yeah.
because when I was there, the way I was made to feel, like, I was this king that just walked, this royalty, it just walked through the door.
Mhm.
And they respected my profession. I just wasn't just this cable guy.
Yeah.
And everybody, when they looked at you, they had this certain look of adoration,
Yeah.
like they were really talking to somebody, not just anybody. They didn't know. And then when you leave that and you go out and you feel different, it's like, man, I want to go back and just stay in there. I don't want to, these some good people,
Indeed.
So not Marty, Ahmed, you had something to say?
Yeah, actually, I had the same experience with my name. It's always with my name. They're like, you know what your name means? And then when I tell them, they be even more shocked. They're like, you're not Muslim? No, I'm not Muslim.
Yeah.
But I do know what it means, and I carry myself with that understanding, because my name means one who's worthy of praise, and I carry
Indeed.
myself as that. And what happens is, like, when you go into this house, you say you feel like royalty. It's just a level of respect that's there. And it feels like royalty, because when you come out of that home and go someplace else, the level of disrespect.
like you want them to adopt you or something.
Seriously.
For real,
You don't
like,
want to go back to that,
yeah, you're like,
Right.
like, do I really want to deal with this? And
Right.
if you look at
This
that
what it's
state,
like.
they
Why
treat you like,
are y'all here? Y'all seem like y'all come from a great country. Why are you here? You're like, what do you
Right.
mean? Like the amount of respect and peacefulness that they bring to you when you encounter them. So
Yeah.
I guess, to sum it up, to go back to where we started, it's respect, and that's the power. Having respect is power. Just give me simple respect as a man. Respect me as a man, because that's who I am. I am a man, and men have certain wants and needs just like everybody else. And one of those things is respect. I think all of you could agree, like, if you get disrespected in public, just by anybody, it's like it stirs off a sense of, like, you got to bring this under control by any means necessary.
Yeah.
And some men don't know how to operate under that, and they could be violent, in those situations. And that's just how we're made. And I think we in particular, men of color, we have a certain power or aura about us that when we walk in a room, okay, what's this guy? Who is this guy? What's he about? Even though we do get that disrespect, but we do have a certain energy that we bring to a situation. And if the brother really knows his power, you will see it, And I think that's where we stand out as people. And I think that's why they spend so much time trying to beat that out of us or bring us down, so that we won't know that power. Because as we were saying, we go to these different cultures, and the way they talk to us and respect us, they know. Because if they didn't have some information about who we were, they wouldn't be treating us like that. They thought we was bums and just these guys who don't take care of their children, just, you know, they wouldn't even come at us like that. Now, I did notice over time, once they spend a lot of time in the country,
They get conditioned. They
they
get
get
conditioned.
conditioned
Mhm.
to disrespect us because they're watching, you know, that 24-hour news cycle and
100%.
perpetuation of those negative images of us. So,
Can't tell you how many
So-
people I done had to say some choice words to, because I'm like, yo, I don't know where you learned this from, where you got it from, but and every nigga you think you see, you can disrespect. You understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But it's like y'all learn that, and I'm talking. I have done this with Mexicans. I have done it with every other culture, along with ours. You know what I'm saying? But it's like you said, when they get here, they get Americanized.
right.
They get that Americanized thing in them. They just feel they could talk to you any type of way. So that tells you the how we're being portrayed.
Mhm.
But
Right.
the thing is, that portrayal is just not coming from the other side. That portrayal is
No, that's coming from within. And
That's
this is
Within,
what
yeah, and then that's what I was
This
saying
is what
about
this-
the propagation,
Right.
of that narrative. We actually propagate it
Right.
and co-sign it,
Right.
and so people are like, yeah, see, you know,
Right.
there you go,
Right.
and
This is why this video I wanted to share with y'all, it kind of brings me to that point.
yeah, go ahead and pull it up, brother.
I'm gonna
Yep.
share it. There it is. All right, here it is there. I'm gonna play it. And I just got it right at this point here.
Okay,
Can y'all hear that?
No, I can't hear it.
no, can't hear it.
Can?
No.
No,
Okay, oh, maybe I need to share it with the sound. Hang on, share screen. All right. Let me stop it. Share window. How do you share the sound? I'm gonna try it again.
Yeah.
Usually. All right, now play it. Can you hear that?
No.
nope.
Yeah, I can hear it good. Well, I'm gonna just summarize since I can't play around with that because Marty gotta go in an hour. He's on a different time zone.
Yeah.
Basically, what the sister was saying was, in our community, in our relationships, some of the women don't respect us or treat us as almost we're subhuman. That's what she was saying. I wish I could have had the sound where you could actually hear it. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing something wrong.
Did she talk about where the source of that belief?
Well, she
comes
said that it's not directly said that we have lesser value than our women. It's implied in how they are trained since they were young.
Mhm.
It's implied in the relationship.
Mhm.
So what she was basically saying, it was better what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna record. I should have just recorded the clip. Basically, what she's saying is because of that viewpoint that they have of us, that's why they could do anything to us and not think about it and go to sleep at night. No matter, take all of his money, treat him with disrespect in public, even in the home, disregard anything he says and just do whatever they want to do. She was just saying things like that. And I've experienced that. I agree with what she was saying, because in certain relationships, it's like, okay, we have this understanding, and then turn around, they did whatever, after we came to an understanding, without regard for how I felt about the situation or not. And that goes back to what we were talking about with respect. That's a lack of respect. And it is, I think disrespect is being propagated on both sides. And where it started, let me see. I can't say really where it started. Let's go back to the 80s when we had the rap videos. Because this culture where we was raised on the 80s rap, 90s R&B rap. And in those videos, all of our women were half naked, right? And or no, let me go there. Back in the 80s, they didn't have dark women in our videos. They had the light-skinned girls. So automatically in our brains, we're programmed not to really see darker women as beautiful. You know, no one's saying that, but that's what they're putting in the videos, right? Then as time go on, the propagating and the videos that they in our music is just showing our women in degrading situations. And we were dancing and clapping to all of these things. And I think subliminally, all of these messages over time degraded our respect for each other. You know, and you know, because in the 90s it was a strip club culture. You know, that was the 90s. And all you in these strip clubs, all you did was see these sisters. Oh, I'm going through school. This is what I'm doing. Whereas when you look at TV, when they showed anybody in a respectable position, they had fair-skinned folks. And even now, I can't even see a show today where they're showing a dark-skinned sister doing anything great. It's always in some type of trifling situation, you know, in some conflicting situation. So because we've been exposed to that, now we as a people look at each other with less value.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It's very interesting. I was giving a talk one time, actually in Los Angeles, to at my mentor's place, Dr. B. He had a center there called Elevation, and I was speaking to it was a diverse audience that night, and I said, you know what I find that when I'm walking down the street and I see someone who may be wearing some baggy pants, got on like a sweatshirt or hoodie.
Yeah. You get nervous.
My nervous system responds to it as a potential threat. I said, now how interesting is this that this person, this brother, is just walking on the street, minding his business, living his life, but because of the habitual conditioning, and we don't, because they're not literally come out and saying that black men are not safe. They won't be that overt. No. They're violent, but what they will do is they'll continuously project this kind of negative connotation around this image. All your nervous system is doing through your eyes, taking in that information, that visual stimulus, making meanings and associations with it that you're unconscious of, that's just consistently being reinforced. And we've allowed this within this culture to just continue consistently without any real objection, any real challenge. And it's become so habituated in the culture, in society, that we don't expect anything better.
Right.
And we expect
our standards are low for ourselves.
Our standards are very low for one another. And so it's very interesting because the television, in my opinion, was probably the greatest weapon ever created. Because our brain, how we learn and how we take in information through visual stimulation, auditory reinforcement, tactile integration. And so if you're constantly getting visual stimulation, auditory reinforcement, and then you're feeling something about it, that's a tactile integration, that becomes the structure for your perception and the structure for your beliefs. Right. And we've allowed a narrative and an image to be created and painted about us through visual stimulation
without pushback,
without no pushback, and to such an extent that we now begin to embody it. And I just find it very fascinating, man,
and very real.
Yeah, very real.
But see, they have a whole movement just for that. They have a whole situation that was brought together for that one reason. And you're right, the television is the most. Look what television did now. because they use television for everything that they're doing right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Everything. They implanted things in your head.
Programming.
Exactly. And I tell people that, they doing rituals on us and they study us. Don't think that they don't understand that if they put out certain stimuli, the reactions that's going to come out of it. And it's actually a mathematical equation. There's actually a document that's been out since 30 something. It's called Quiet Weapons for Secret Wars, or Secret Wars for Quiet Weapons for Secret Wars. And that document is powerful because everything that they said in there is happening to this day. So I tell people all the time, you think you're doing what you want to do, but you're doing what you're supposed to do. See, so even in that document, they even tell you how people are going to respond to certain things. So it's so indoctrinated that they don't want to hear nothing else, let alone can't hear nothing else. They don't want to hear nothing else because their brain is in tune to understand one thing.
Yeah, indeed.
And we've been taught to think that these so-called intellectuals that are put forth in front of us have this great mind and this great leadership. One, we're the only race of people that have leaders. Nobody else you ever hear talk about leaders. Only us Negroes talk about leaders. You know what I'm saying? And we have these so-called intellectuals, and they went to this school and they did this and they did that, and telling us what it is
that right there, along with television, education was the biggest weapon.
Oh yes, that's what I was going to get into. Yep,
biggest weapon. In education, well, you need education. No, you need education, but you need good education.
A good education, yeah.
Right. See what happened I guess starting in the 80s and really took off in the 90s was they made the sisters believe that having a college degree was the valuable thing to have.
Yeah.
So she spends, most of her young time pursuing an education that only serves the purpose of the system. It doesn't serve her needs and her family needs. It's serving that system needs. Okay, you make money, you get the paycheck, but what's the median income? It's like $48,000 a year median income. So that's not going to run a household. So you're working hard for that. Not many. 7% of the population is making six figures in this country. So there's not many people up there. But education is, when I went to school, what I saw was a lot of us was getting in trouble, right? The guys, the boys, because it wasn't allowing us to get that respect and leadership that's built into us. We're telling sit down, listen, do what I say, no matter if this sounds ridiculous or not. So, I know I spent a lot of time in the dean's office because I didn't figure that out until I became an adult, that I just couldn't accept the program.
Yeah.
You see, it didn't. When they were trying to push it just wasn't taken.
It wasn't
right.
Spirit.
Huh? No, it wasn't. Like in certain, especially when it came to history, I always was like going to sleep or just tuned out. But when it came to the sciences like biology, I was woke on that. I wanted, I was in that. And then English, but education was a big, and I think a lot of our people believe because they have a degree that qualifies them as smart and intelligent.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to doctors, but especially doctors, they got this attitude about good.
Dude, yeah.
Every time I go to
here,
that's what I'm saying. But see, he was looked at different. They say he would never make it because he was thinking different. But they go and they have this attitude like they know it all. I mean, every time that when my mom's had to go and my daughter had to go in the hospital, they always had to call the head doctor on me. Because you're not just going to walk in the room and do something just because that's what you're used to doing. No, that don't work.
Right.
Yeah.
You're going to explain what that's the standard of care.
Right.
That's what they're doing.
That's
no
what they're doing.
If it harms you or not.
Exactly.
And people don't understand that about doctors.
100%. You're going to explain to me what you're doing, why you're doing, and what's the purpose of doing it. I'll give an example. My mom was in, right, and she her blood pressure was high, so they wanted to give her some blood pressure medicine. I wouldn't let them do it. So they called this doctor, and then they called this doctor, and then called this doctor, and then I said, listen, here's the thing. My mother don't want to be here. Do you understand what that does when a person don't want to be somewhere they don't want to be, that the anxiety that causes? I said, she wants to be home. My mom's, before she was in the hospital, didn't go to the doctor for almost 30, almost 40 years because she didn't trust them. That's what they did back then. They took care of themselves. She had stopped and realized something ain't right, and she had figured out, and I need this, need that, and won't touch them. So when she had to go in, which she didn't listen to me, it was her fault, but when she had to go in, she knew that, nah, this ain't right. And it was certain things I just wouldn't let her know. I said, listen, let her calm down. Just let her relax and talk to her. When she relaxes, she's going to see things. And they keep coming. I said, I'm not letting you give them nothing. Hi, but you can't. Who's going to stop me? You can't let you do nothing. Now, her blood pressure came down. It didn't come down where they wanted. I let them give a little piece. I said, okay, I'll give a little piece because we want to get the hell out of this hospital. So we allowed them to do it after a while. But I said, but do you see? First, you got to let the person relax. See where they really at. Because if they're in a mental state that is not in a relaxed state, that's going to cause a whole lot of things to happen. So let's first get them in a place of relaxation and at peace to whatever extent we can, because she's still someplace you don't want to be. But once she was able to calm down, relax, know that I'm there, my brothers and everybody's there, that she's protected, she's feeling a little more safe. Still want to go home, but she's feeling safe. All that started subsiding. So one nurse said, yeah, I understood what you were saying, but I couldn't say nothing. But but he was extremely cool. But my thing is, we have this thing that just because they have this degree, they got this thing on the wall that they know everything. No, they were taught and they memorized things. Doesn't mean they know everything, because not everybody you can deal with. And I'm quite sure they could contest this. Not everybody can deal with and approach the same way.
No. I mean, I'll say this, bro. Like, in the case of your mother, so you're spot on that the environment in and of itself creates anxiety, and to such an extent, we actually have a name for it. We call it white coat syndrome. And the thing is that if your mother was not feeling safe, that's going to instantly stir up her nervous system, stir up her stress response, and her blood pressure is automatically going to become elevated because she's sensing danger or threat to her. Right. She's in an uncertain environment. She doesn't know what's happening. See strange people around her, walking around in all these white coats and things, talking in a language that she won't speak to her where she can understand them. They're trying to talk above her, so they're like, they can show themselves as smart or intelligent. And then they're trying to push off on you some medication, some pharmaceutical drug. You don't know what the effects of that will be outside of them saying it will lower your blood pressure. And what would have probably been one of the most best things they could have did for your mother in that case, it got a basin of warm water and put her feet in the water. That have brought her blood pressure down without any medication.
Wow.
And then from there, you can start having a conversation about lifestyle and what we can start looking into what may be some of the causal factors for the blood pressure raising up like that, and then giving her some things that she can do. And so one thing I always tell folks that you have to understand about my profession, regardless if they're a naturopathic doctor, osteopathic doctor, chiropractic doctor, or allopathic doctor, your conventional MD, there's not a doctor on the planet that can cure you of anything. The power that created the body heals the body. The best thing we can do is guide and facilitate that power, even better, teach you how to do it for yourself. So when we're giving you powders, pills, and potions, and whatever else, all those things are acting as a catalyst, working with the innate wisdom of the body to elicit a response. And frankly, not only do the drugs have side effects, the supplements have side effects, the herbs have side effects, your food has side effects. They're all the catalysts. Either they're going to be supporting and promoting more life or the degradation of it. So it's like so important when you're in these facilities that you operate the way you were operating with them, Ahmed. You're going to explain this. You're going to tell me why, what for, and what outcomes. Because the big thing that I think a lot of people fail to realize is that you have complete autonomy and sovereignty over this body temple.
Right.
And the moment you begin to
give it up.
give that power away,
Right.
What we're doing now.
you're now subjugated to whatever
hmm
occurs afterwards. And so
Right.
you, when you're engaging with any physician, they're there to serve you in partnership at best.
Right.
Mhm.
At no time are they ever above or ahead of you.
Mhm.
And so that's how you have to approach those conversations. And if you're dealing with someone who is so caught up in his or her ego, you just, yeah, that's the one you fire.
hmm
And you have a right to fire any doctor.
Mhm. Right. Yeah.
And she don't have a history of high blood pressure. That's just
Yeah.
because what happened was she had a it was a what they call an aneurysm stroke. Something I forgot the name of it, but it was something that they just had to let it drain out on its own. Because what happened, she was like 76, 70 something. She was still riding her bike. So she took her bike out, and I always told her to
Well, you
stay
talking about your
hydrated.
mom that I met at the
Yeah.
cookout?
Yeah,
Wow.
she's 80.
How old is she?
Yeah.
She's
She's 80
what?
now. When
The
you
one
met,
that was
she's 80.
running around dancing
Yeah.
at the cookout.
Yeah. She's 80. Listen.
She look a whole lot younger than that, but go ahead.
And it's funny because she would have been a whole lot stronger had this happened. But what happened, she was riding the bike in the sun. It was hot. And I
Yeah.
always told her, if you ride and stay hydrated, stay
Right.
hydrated,
And that's
stay hydrated.
that's
So
the
she
cause of
rolled,
strokes.
didn't listen,
Dehydration.
came back, lift her bike up to go up the stairs.
Mm.
So you know it's already a strain on your vessel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
put that strain in.
So
Okay,
that's
so
it was that strain. So I said,
And then at her age, it just
exactly.
you know, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I said, what happened to you wasn't because you had something underlying going on with you, it was because you didn't have your body prepared for what
Yeah,
you
yeah, exactly. Dehydrated, overexerted,
overexerted.
sun. Yeah.
I'm like, remember, you're not 20 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's good you keep
Right.
doing your thing, yeah, but you have to stay
Yeah.
hydrated, period.
Yeah.
And that's what I was explaining to them, that my mom's not a sickly person. She's still carrying cinder blocks right now in her garden.
Well, I know. I met her. She was.
Yeah,
She
I
looked
came
like.
Beautiful.
She looked like she moving like she in her 40s. You know.
She's
Beautiful.
still dancing.
No hesitation in her steps. You know. I see older people. They just hesitating.
Beautiful.
Marty, I know you got to go. You know.
Yeah,
this
brother,
lady
yeah.
over
Oh yeah,
there.
okay. Yeah.
If you wanted to stay on, Ahmed, we can stay on for a few more minutes
All
after
right,
you leave.
cool. I'm here.
All right, Marty. Next week, next week I want to talk about health, our
Okay,
health.
cool.
as men.
Hey, let's get into it, man. It's always a pleasure sitting, and briefing with you brothers and just getting some stuff out here off our chest and just letting folks know where we stand from our perspective, because it's so needed. And I'm glad you set up this platform, Rakeem, for us to do it, because it's so
Thanks,
needed.
no problem, man.
Yeah, definitely. Good speaking to you again, as always, brother.
I know it's
All right,
tough.
likewise,
Maybe we'll look at another time, because I know this time.
Yeah. Like, especially like in the middle of the week like this, where the week's still just starting. It's because it's already 11 here, and like I'm now getting myself up around like 5:30 in the morning. So
So we'll discuss it and see a time that works better.
Okay, sounds good,
All
brothers.
right.
Y'all enjoy. All right, I look forward to watching the rest of it. All right,
All right,
peace.
brother. Peace.
All right. Oh, my bad. I took you off. Yeah. So we were talking about a lot of stuff about, having respect as men in our homes and just in our community. And that's what's important to us. We didn't talk about money. So that's important. That is important.
That is important, though.
That's very important. Finances, prosperity, being able to take care of our family. But at the top of that is the respect and the having the feeling that you have a say that everyone respects. And you don't have to sit there and explain yourself like, you're sitting in court, and being questioned and proven, all too many times. Okay, well, check this out. I think we do that too much. I think how I'm trying to navigating it now, instead of stressing myself about that. Okay, you don't agree, you don't believe, hey, do what you want. I'm gonna steer this boat in this direction.
That's all you can do, yeah.
And I know that the sea might get rough, but I can handle that. But I still have this is me as a man, this is where I'm going. Now, like you said last week, this train is going in a direction. You want to get on it or you don't. but I'm going in this direction because I know this works. I know what's going to happen if I go in that direction. Um, I just need you to trust me on that, and I think what we have done is given up because we try to placate and play to our family's needs and stuff. We have shrinking back in our leadership positions because we don't want the conflict.
Don't
But
want
I'm getting to the point where, okay, I'm gonna get some conflict if this doesn't go right, as far as what I'm trying to do, or I'm gonna get it now up front. Okay, I got conflict, but we still going. This is what we're doing. You
Right.
know, it's gonna work out eventually. So you just gotta, move in a direction you know is right and comfortable the way you feel about it or know about it. You
Yeah,
know,
I agree. I
if
mean,
if you're doing something and then you're feeling like you're not being a man in that situation, then probably need not be doing that.
you got to reevaluate that, right?
He's like, I feel kind of, you need not mess with that. And a lot of people say, oh, this old manly, this and that. No, that's what makes us men feeling like a man. Just like a woman
Yeah.
feels feminine. What makes a woman feel feminine? The nurturing and the hugs and the kisses and things like that, the touches. That's what makes her feel feminine, you know?
It's
Um,
like why take away what makes it? Well, see, what they're doing is redefining what a man's supposed to be
right.
and redefining the whole aspect of what a man is. I mean, I don't even know. I don't know.
Man, the lines are so blurred.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what the
Like
hell.
guys are wearing dresses and they
Yeah,
just posting that everywhere. Every time you turn on the TV, there's the
and
the
they
same sex
bombarding you.
relationships
Yeah.
going on.
You see that
And it's
more
becoming
prevalent
the
on
norm.
TV than regular. Here's the thing: they okay with teaching you about anal sex and all this stuff in a young age in public school, but yet they tell you that you're too young to want to have any type of
Right,
heterosexual sex. So
right.
well, I
That's
don't get it.
X-rated. That's
It's
X-rated.
it's like you said, it's so blurred and skewed. It's it's like now before you was more afraid of your daughters coming up because of the dangers out in the street. You're more afraid of your sons coming up because of the way they
I
try
was saying
to.
that. Me and Beth was at the Taste of Charlotte the other day, and I said if I was have another child, I want a girl.
Mm.
I don't want a son because I'm looking at what was out there for him. Like
Mm.
it was like we saw a young lady with her daughter, toddler-sized daughter, with these cut-off shorts with her butt hanging out. And she's walking with her daughter, looked no more than 2 or 3, if she was 2. And she's holding her hand, the baby was crying. But this is the example she was setting for her daughter dressed like that.
Right.
Half her butt is out and walking down in a public place. And this is the image she's giving to her child. And I'm like, and then it was just such a masculine energy all over the place,
Even from the women.
from the women. I'm just like, you didn't feel like I didn't feel like I was, it was more women there. I didn't feel like I was around a bunch of women. I felt just that energy that it's just hard to describe what it was. I was like, man, this is.
I know
this is
exactly what
crazy.
you're saying, though. I
Yeah.
mean, but this day and age, you can't even. It's to the point. This is probably gonna be another topic of conversation when we get on. But you can't even tell a lady you look nice today. You look very attractive today.
You say
These days,
that's
man, you say
sexual
that to them,
harassment, bro.
forget about
Well, they look at you like something's wrong. And I think that's the indoctrination. They're so used to not hearing anything good being said to them
it.
that when you do say something, it just sounds strange. And what do you want? What are you after?
Well, that and all these different movements and things that they doing and talking that word toxic masculinity nonsense stuff and all this, So I mean,
Well, hey, they can have it the way they want to have it, but I'm just going to do my thing the way I want to do it.
facts.
That's it. I have things I agree with and I disagree with. So when it comes to we talked about the respect, but what about in business? Business.
What do you mean?
What do we want in our business when we have a business? We're running a business. the point I'm trying to make is when we open up business as in our culture, everybody wants to come and get that discount. But they go to Walmart, they throw their money at them. That's another respect thing. We don't even respect each other in our businesses, in supporting and paying the price that we have on the label. We expect, because we have the same skin color, oh, you got to give me a discount.
Yep.
I remember a long time ago, I was doing satellites, and when I first started doing them, the owner of the satellite company said, well, sell the satellites for $10, right? And I was doing that for a long time. And then I sold it to this one single mom for $10, set her up, but then she recommended me to her friend. So by the time the friend got on, which was like 2 months later, the price was different. It was $30 for the system. So she was like, you were supposed to sell it to me for $10. I said, no. I said, that was like 2 months ago. That was the deal too. Now I have to collect 30 and turn this in. She was like, you know what? I know I should have went to a white person to get my satellite turned in. And it went, for a minute that I was hot when she said that. I was hot. Now, this company, me selling it for $30, I was the cheapest guy around. Everybody was doing it for $99.
Wow.
Even if you went to the white establishment, they were selling the $99, right? And getting it with no complaints. Here I am, small town guy, just basically selling them out of my back of my truck. At that time, I was driving a Maxima, so I did it out of a car first, and I would install them, for $30. And I think that's another thing we don't get respect in our businesses as business. We take our money to all of these other industries or other cultures and give it to them willingly and don't even question the price at all.
When I first opened up my shop, I was that one. Power to the people, red, black, and green. Yeah, my people. Man, listen, I got out of that mode so fast. I opened up my first and second. My first shop was 4 blocks from where I live. The second shop was 1 block from where I live. And I can tell you now, the amount of people that I've known that actually came and patronized my shop, that I actually was going to tell my Greek guy, like, yo, let me put you out in the front and say you own it, because I bet you they will flock to this place. You know what I'm saying? But that's just the conditioning that we have. We just don't want to see for nobody else getting anywhere. I don't get it. It's crazy because there's so much out here for everybody. You say it all the time. We fighting for these crumbs down here when the abundance is up here.
Right.
We all got the room to go up here and do whatever. So you patronize me, I'm gonna patronize you. Because even when I left my shop, one of the barbers took it over. And I used to still come back there and give them pointers on certain things that I used to do. And people were like, yo, you still go back there and help? I said, why would I hate when this brother's trying to do his thing? Why would I get in the way? Why would I have a problem?
We have a misconception of competition.
Yeah.
Like we got it all wrong when it comes to competition. We get a business and we don't want anybody else to do what we're doing or know what we're doing.
Right.
But okay, let's look at big business, how they operate, right? Apple makes iPhones, right? Yes. So Apple could just sell all the iPhones themselves and not let anybody else sell their phones. But everybody sells. Verizon sell their phones, Best Buy sell their phones. All of them selling them for the same price. They might have different promotions, but they all selling it, the same product, right? And you might get a better deal from the other competitors, than you would from Apple.
Apple itself, right?
Apple himself. But what does that tell you? That you can sell the same product for the same price and everyone eats at the same time.
Everyone eats. That's right.
But somewhere when it comes to us, oh no, you can. I can't give you this and you make money. We trip on. We really have a bad money consciousness. I don't mind if somebody duplicate me, because why? Apple allows Verizon and all of them to sell their phones. Guess what? Some money is better than no money.
No money,
right? So they're getting a piece of that along with people, because even though I bought my phone from Verizon, I still go to Apple to get it looked at.
Exactly. Still got to come back to it again. Exactly.
Right. So, and then you have, let's use other examples. Walmart and Target sell the same stuff. They have super centers. So Walmart has a super center and Target has a super Target, whatever you call that. But they sell the same stuff, different prices, but they still in business for years, selling the same items.
Home Depot and Lowe's.
Why? Because they sit at the table. The big guys sit at the table and say, okay, what you gonna put on sale this week? Okay, you put that on sale, and I'm gonna put this on sale. I got this inventory I need to get rid of. I'm gonna put this on sale, and you put it. They work together, selling the same product so that they all can stay in business.
All can stay in business,
right? And we could do the same thing easily.
Because they know some people are just going to prefer like a Lowe's to a Home Depot.
Mm-hmm.
A Lowe's have much better customer service than a Home Depot has. Mm-hmm. So I would prefer a Lowe's over a Home Depot just for that reason. I mean, if you're going to steal my money, do it with a smile.
Right.
See? But they sell the same thing and they both
right.
existing. So that tells you that it's enough people for both of y'all to survive. It's just a matter on how you market and how you're going to do things. Now, if you're gonna put the energy out there for cutthroat, then you get what comes to you. But I mean, we just have
we go out of our way. A lot of our people go out of our way just to cut our throat or just to destroy our businesses.
Yeah.
Just for whatever reason, jealousy, hate, whatever, and we have to. And that's programming. That comes from we've been put in a position that we see each other as competition, whereas the other groups that don't see each other as competition, they see each other as business partners. Because they got what a dozen Chinese restaurants within 3 miles radius of each other, but they all making money.
Well, they all come and pimp. Everybody knows who to come to America and pimp. They come and pimp our neighborhoods.
Right. They don't build it. You don't see too many Chinese. You see like, especially in New York, you see the little corner store. Chinese stores, and then they have the upscale Chinese restaurants in the other areas where they have restaurants. But they come to us because they know that they call us black gold because they know we spend our money with anybody, anytime, anywhere, and without question, we do it. But I could have the same. I've seen sisters try to open up nail salons and they go out of business. Why?
Yeah.
It's not that the sister doesn't know how to do nails, it's because we're programmed to go to the Koreans to do it.
Or their price may be a little higher. So, but people don't understand the reason why the price have to be high, especially in the beginning, because they don't have the volume. So as they get the volume, then that's when your prices are going to change. So if we was consuming with our own, then the prices would be comparable. Actually, it wouldn't, because their prices would be higher because they wouldn't be making the money in order to cover.
They'd have to jack it up.
Right.
And then they got a community of suppliers, meaning they're all buying from the same place, getting really cheap prices to resell their products. Whereas we don't have those connections. See, they have a network behind that supports all of their business.
That's true.
We got to figure out, okay, where am I going to buy this to resell it? We don't have a network of our people who say, okay, we're going to get all these things. We're going to buy this stuff in bulk so that we can supply our stores with it. We don't have that. And that's why one of the biggest reasons, especially in the beauty supply industry, why it's higher in our stores versus the other stores, because of that big, wide network and these other groups just come into this country just to sell products to us. Who buys beauty supply stuff? Who buys that? Who buys it? You don't see anybody else in those beauty supply stores. I see mostly our sisters in there.
They already have their marketing plan in place before they get here. They already know what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, where they're going to go, and they already know what it's going to be.
And that's where the deprogramming need to come. We got to shop differently.
Yeah.
And then the first one, well, we got to have something. There's nothing out there. Well, if you know that there's nothing out there, why don't you create that? We have the money.
Yeah,
Not that we're broke
money
people.
is not the issue, right? Because there's a whole lot of money floating around, but we keep taught to keep going over there to get it, over there to get it. So now if you go over there to get it, you got to go by their terms. When there's enough money floating around in here that we can create our own terms to make our own industry to do things. But it, like I said, they got a whole network of us Negroes that's their job is to keep them is to keep us in a certain place. I'll speak
Right.
on it a little later.
I'd have to agree because just money out there. We got all these athletes with millions of dollars that, but they're not creating networks catered to us for our economic uplifting.
And if you do try to do it, oh, you segregated. Oh, you're doing this, and who
Well, the
don't?
businesses are already segregated because
Right.
most of the businesses I go, restaurants, I don't see our sisters or brothers in there serving people for the most part. I know not here in North Carolina. For the most part, I see the people, they're hiring people that look like them, especially in the Asian restaurants.
That's right.
You know? So, and I don't have a problem with that. I really don't.
Actually, I don't either.
I don't have a problem with that.
I don't
Okay,
either.
you want to hire your own, I'll hire my own.
And
You
what's
know?
wrong with that?
What's wrong with that? You keeping it in the family. That's what you're supposed to do. So
Mhm.
people, well, I think we get distracted and we want to complain. They need to put us in their businesses. No, you need to put yourself in your business, your business. Stop trying to fight to be in these people's business.
Right.
They that's their dream for their family and their legacy. Let them do what they want. We can't complain because they're doing that because that's what they're supposed to do. You see to the survival of your people,
That's right.
your tribe. What you stop complaining and here, let's see the survival of your tribe and open up something and hire your people,
Real people.
you know, and keep them in there. Even though they got equal opportunity employment laws, but I don't see it in a lot of these, especially the smaller businesses.
Right.
There's no equal opportunity there. I mean, I go in restaurants and I just see all the same shade in there.
Listen,
So,
it's a family-owned business. I'm hiring my family. What's the
right,
problem? You know
right.
what I'm saying? So I don't. Just like even if you look at the fraternities and sororities and all that, all they take care of their own. They
Mm-hmm.
take care of their own first. If they're in a high position someplace, and if I come in and interview well, but someone else come and interview well, but they could throw up a sign or whatever of a fraternity or sorority, who do you think they're gonna take?
The guy in their tribe, the guy
That's
in their
right.
fraternity.
So
Yeah.
that's just what it is. So we need to stop fighting for this illusion of inclusion and create our own. So this is why I
Right.
tell people kill me. Oh, systemic racism, and they're always trying to make us a victim. Oh, they stopping you, but the ones that are saying that are the ones that going home to a home that they own, that's
Mhm.
making six figures that they take into their bank account, but they telling you that it's systemic racism and you can't get nowhere. I
Mhm.
mean, let's think about that, because my thing is, if this one closes a door on me, there's 5 other doors to go to.
Right.
So no problem. You don't want me here? I understand. No problem. They want me here over here. They see my worth and my value. Now, my goal is the best revenge you can get on anybody is to be successful. So
Right.
now you go over there and you make that even more successful.
There's no reason why we can't do it. I mean, we can do it if we were, just pooling resources to make it happen. You know, um, like just thinking when you're starting a business, you don't have to own the whole business. You don't
Right.
have to be totally in control. You could literally put 10 people in business and just say, give me 10% of each of those 10. I'll,
That's, I was just
you
about
know,
to say that. You can have a small
just
percentage of both.
literally now you got
Yep.
100%. Now
Yep.
now you don't have liability. They're running it. It's their company. They're just giving you 10% for helping them get in business.
Yep.
We can do that. And it's
100%.
between all of these people with all the money and just even people with the let's just throw out the window of all of the people with money because they're doing their thing and they ain't thinking about
They ain't thinking about
everybody
it. Right.
else. But everybody who's got a job making $40,000-$50,000 a year can take some of that money and pool it together and take one person. Okay, you're gonna be the one who this is your business, and we're gonna feed you to get you in the business. We just want this percentage out of you of
Mm.
your profits.
It's not a bad
right?
idea.
And they do all the hard work. It's their business. They work it. You become their investor,
You're an investor.
right?
Exactly.
Now you, like I said, you keep doing that over and over and over again. Now you're just multiplying your returns.
What do you think Shark Tank is doing?
That's what they're doing. They're just
That's
taking little
exactly what
pieces
they're
of
doing.
business all over the place. Right.
Exactly.
I'll do this. Their percentage is 1%, depending on the valuation of the business.
Mhm.
But you don't have to be a million. What I'm saying is you don't have to be a millionaire to do that.
Well, see,
That's what, you know.
and this facts that because even in real estate, you have people that believe that they got to have all this money to get into real estate and buy a home. And after I speak to them, I show them that you're actually ready because people think they have in this head that they got to have this amount of money to put
Right.
down in order to get a home. It only makes sense if you're going to lower your payment substantially. If it's not 50, let's say in New York, putting $50,000 down on a house ain't going to change your mortgage much.
No,
Probably
with the real estate costs.
Why are you going to put 50,000 down when you can do 3.5%? That may come up to 15, 20,000 or 25,000. That 25,000 is your cushion now.
Right.
But see, we've been trained to think
Just throw all our money at something.
right. It doesn't make sense.
And you can take that money and make it work for you.
Exactly.
You know,
Now, if you put
that's
100,
how
150 down, now that makes sense because you're going to significantly change your mortgage payment each month. So then I'll say, yeah, I can understand if you want to do that. But to do in between when it ain't going to change much, is $50 really worth you losing extra $25,000, $30,000? Is it worth it? No. That's your cushion, man. Then you can take that money, like you said, get into something else that could turn over.
Right.
But we got this whole misconception of how things are supposed to work. And sometimes people don't realize that money is not just with the green. What you bring to the table don't always have to be cash because your knowledge is valuable.
Mhm.
Your connections is valuable. So you can invest in a business by just bringing that connection or just bringing that knowledge of that business, and somebody else might have the finances. That works together.
Right.
And when I talk to people, they be like, damn, I didn't think of that. Yeah, your knowledge is valuable, man.
Yeah.
Because you may have something that I don't have, but I may have the money. But I may not have that. I may not have the skill set or the knowledge that you have. So you know what? This sounds good to me. Hey, let's make this happen.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I don't know, man. We got a long.
Well, I guess
since
we're aware of that, we just got to remain focused on what we're doing and not let the issues like that sidetrack us. You know, just okay, we know this is the world we're living in, but we still got to remain focused and determined to make things work successfully. Because too many brothers I see getting pushback and then they stay down because of the pushback. And it's always hard as this and that. We don't have time to be playing victim.
Yep.
We are way behind economically.
Way behind.
And when I say way behind, not just in money, just in the education and the knowledge that we need to, you know, other groups are training their children from birth how to become business owners. You walk in their store, their children are running the register and running their businesses. You see, whereas our children at home probably on phones and stuff like that. You know, so sometimes the knowledge that I have now, I just wish I had it 20 years ago.
Oh my God.
And I'd be like, okay, and then I would train my children differently. So, but we all came out of a program that designed to push us down a certain way, and we went down that way because we thought it was right. And then we woke up and said, wait a minute, this is not enough. After something shocked us, or well, I know me getting laid off a few times woke me up. You know, that last fireman being fired from my job, that was the last straw for me, you know. But still, I still had residual program that kept pulling me back to that rat race, you know, what I thought was security, having a job. There's no security in getting a paycheck from someone 9 to 5. That's not security.
It's not.
It may have been 20, 30 years ago. You retired after so many years and then you got your gold watch and a retirement check. That is not the case anymore. I was actually listening to a guy yesterday. He's an attorney, 20-year attorney. Now he's doing YouTube videos, making 20 grand a month.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So went to law school, and practiced for 20 years. And now all he does is sit on his computer hours at a time, and he's not really talking about law. He's talking about all kind of topics and making 20 grand just doing that. So
Wow.
do you need a degree? What that college degree he got for law, did it help him do that? No. And he had to learn that, he had to figure that out. That was a whole different education, learning the YouTube algorithms and stuff. But I keep telling people, there's money out here. You don't even got to leave your house to make it now. All you got to do is get on here and do what we're doing right now, and be patient and watch the followers go up. Too many times I see people starting stuff and then they stop because they don't have the followers. And my thing is, stop looking at followers. Just keep putting the content out. Just keep better. One day, boom, it's gonna pick up traction. What you put in your business is what is going to come back to you. You put hard work, long hours, all of that is going to come back to you. But if you just here and there, now and then, that's what you're going to get. Now, here and there, now and then money, if any.
But they also gotta have a passion, some type of passion for what they're doing too, because that's going to come across.
Right.
So
right. They got to have a passion.
Track.
Man, I've seen some guys that didn't look like they had any passion with thousands of.
Got a passion for some money.
I guess the money was with their passion, right? Yeah, that was it. But
they saw an avenue to make some money. They probably had that gift of gab, and they utilized that gift of gab and say, "This is the platform I could do it. I don't like talking to these people, but you know what? I like getting paid. So which one are you gonna go with?"
This guy said he was an aerospace major, and now he makes money in crypto now. See, it's showing that conventional education is no longer, to me, it never was a factor for success. To me, because most of the people I know that had the money and was really making the money, they didn't even have a college degree. Right? But Bill Gates, he's running the vaccine industry right now. He didn't finish college. Like, how did he didn't get he don't have a doctor's degree now. He's at the forefront of vaccinations. Come on.
He didn't learn
nothing. Like,
he learned how to make some money.
He just the money is what put him there. He was smart enough to make something that people liked and expanded on that, So a lot of these guys that are millionaires, billionaires, they threw education out the window and followed a passion that what they did was they created a need or created something that they thought people needed, and they took off from there.
Created a problem and gave the solution.
And brothers don't have an excuse anymore. I know they try to treat us like we're nothing and we're not important, insignificant. That's just an illusion.
Right.
All of that's illusion, because you don't put down someone that's insignificant. You don't try to go out of your way to destroy someone that you don't think is going to be a threat.
That's right.
Right? So that means that you are as a brother. Right? So, but right now, there's no excuse not to be successful. And I'm talking to all the brothers. There's no excuse not to be making lots of money. There's no excuse. Regardless of all of the stuff they put. Actually, it's better that you do get those obstacles, because it teaches you how to overcome opposition, which is you're gonna be better suited than the guy who just got it handed to him.
Fact.
To handle pressure.
Yep.
So yeah, we're talking about all of the issues that we got, but I started the show out like that just to say, so what are everybody's doing that? So what some people are not giving us respect? It might be your own woman or your own friends or family. So what? Like you said, the best revenge is your own success, them watching you become successful. I deal with a lot of opposition and pushback and this, but hey, that's the world I live in and I know it, but I'm still going to make it happen regardless of all of that pushback. And I know that it's training me for even bigger things to do. That's my training ground. All of that now is just all like, a gnat in my in my face. Okay, y'all go with it. You know.
Where you get to
So-
the point you just get tired of talking, tired of trying to bring forth something bigger than what a person has. You want them to see something bigger, but you can't see someone else's vision.
No.
You only can see your own. So some
So
people,
stop.
their vision is right there. So you gotta let them be. And that's listen, that's where I'm at. Like, you know what?
Stop. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm learning. Stop trying to frustrate yourself, trying to bring somebody to understand that they can have it bigger and better dreams. Just follow yours
Yeah.
and let them see you do your thing.
That's it.
All that talking, I'm worn out from that. It's done. This is what I'm
Man,
doing.
worn out is
You know, it was tough to come do this show at 4:00 with all of the consultations that I do. You know, you and I working on some things, and then I still got. It's like, okay, I said, man, why did I commit to all of these shows now? But hey, I keep doing it. What's gonna happen? It's gonna just get bigger and bigger. You know, I wouldn't have got the inspiration if it wasn't necessary.
yeah, it was a reason why I came to you.
Yeah,
It's a matter of what you're gonna do with it.
right.
And now you gotta I don't want to say prioritize, but it's gonna be sometimes you gotta prioritize your time, but you definitely gonna have to coordinate your time.
Yeah, I gotta.
You also gotta make sure you got time for you. You know what I'm saying? You always gotta make sure you got time for you.
Yeah, well, in
That's
an
what
hour
we-
and a half, I got to do another show.
Oh shoot, I keep forgetting today's Tuesday.
Yeah, you know, one of the things I try to teach people, you know, is, and one of the things people, when they, especially in a platform like this, they worry about what they have to say. I say this: you wouldn't have to worry about anything you have to say if you just be honest, if you just be truthful. Just tell the truth.
Yeah.
Let people see who you are, what you're about. And a lot of people are afraid to take off the shell and expose themselves to the public. But here it is. If I expose myself to the public, there's nothing for no one to say about me that'll be a problem. Because I've already put it out there. You know, I told people that, oh, I sold drugs when I was 15, 16. You know what I'm saying? I told people I did all these crazy things when I was younger, and you know, I told people, you know, I wasn't the greatest in my first marriage and stuff like that. I put it out there. When you just authentically yourself, people like that. They hear that, and they cater to that. People know when you're trying to be pretentious, and that turns them off, and they go somewhere else and watch. People find it entertaining when you just revealing who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's all. Even if you don't have a huge message, I think everyone has a message to share. Everyone has a story or a journey that will cater to an audience that want to listen. Because when I watch all of these popular videos out there, most of these guys are just riding in their car talking about themselves and stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
Most, you know, they did no real professional setup, but they got thousands of followers. So that tells me people just looking for truth, honesty, because there's so much fakeness going on.
I was about to say, which is so rare now.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
It's like, okay, this guy's real. And then at that point, once you catch them in that, but they follow you and they'll take your advice. And that's how I built my audience, with just being real. Hey, I make mistakes, I do things wrong, but I'm man enough to say I did it wrong. And I apologize.
That's the key right there, man. Accept it, own it. That's all about owning your stuff.
Right.
Good, bad, or different. Just own it, man. Just own it. I don't know. I remember when I was working and supervisors used to say, "Oh, you doing this and you doing it," because I don't care wherever I work or whatever I did. I always looked at the situation, see how I can make it work for me.
Right.
Not stepping on anybody's toes that they were claiming or whatever. Because I asked everybody, "Am I stepping on your toes?" No. Matter of fact, what you did helped me. I said, "Listen, I don't care what anybody else do. Do your thing. When it's my turn, leave me alone." But I always look at a situation and how can I make it work for me? Now, I've been in situations where even in real estate, like dealing with situations and I just say, you know what? I'm gonna eat all this stuff here because at the end of this, it's something I'm gonna get from it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I get it, can't nobody tell me nothing. So sometimes you just gotta keep your eye on the prize, man. And all that other stuff that's gonna come is gonna come anyway. So just let it come and go. But keep your eye on that prize, man, because that's all I ever did. Anything I do, I'm like, you know what? Yo, why are you dealing with that? That's all right, because I gotta end to this meeting. I gotta mean to this end, excuse me. And when I get to that end, I could turn around and say, go yourself. I'm good now. Ain't nothing you could do. So now I'm in this position doing me now. When I could have been in this position, we could have been doing us. But you know what? We made that choice. So it's okay. It's fine.
Everybody has a choice to move how they want. And I think sometimes we get caught up in that. We want something more for someone that they can't see it for themselves. They got to be able to see it for themselves.
Yeah.
They got to see it. They got to see the vision. And remember, it's you that got the vision.
Yeah.
So they're not going to always see that.
I'm definitely guilty of that. My bro had to tell me. He had to put me to like, yo, bro, you got to stop this. And I said, yeah, you're right.
Right. You're spinning your wheels dealing with it.
Yeah.
All right, man. I'm going to get off this thing because I got to.
Oh, yeah. It's about that time.
Yeah. Almost an hour. A little over an hour.
Right.
Damn good. Next week,
sir.
then. We're
All right,
going to talk about health next week. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right, bro.
All
Peace.
right, peace, everybody. Take
Peace,
care.
everybody.